Foggy, Prison. You want to focus Vita first, because if you kill Tao first, Vita will get the buff, and if you kill Vita first, Tao will get the buff. And killing or having Vita get the buff is pretty annoying. So you mainly want to kill Tao first. And it's a pretty straightforward raid. It's tank and spank. Well, I notice it's the best to do in most cases. It's just Konamiya spam your Q. Because every time you do research, your whole team gets research. So every time we see, for example, we only have one attack buffer, which is Bastet from Saku. And it will provide attack buff for the whole team. So we're actually standing in a pretty bad spot here. Very bad spot. You can revive if you die. Cost like 60 crystals. You can do that. There's a maximum of how many times you can do that. I think it's 3. Ooh, 1 HP on my Sekmet. So yeah, I should be more careful with the dodges here. We're getting kind of hit too much. In this case, I'm running a double DPS setup, which also shows that doing decent DPS. This one, in most cases, you want to wait until you see both lines and then you want to dodge. But if one line is a lot earlier than the second line, you just want to dodge early. So far so good. If one is further away than the other one, it's also easier to go. That skill that he does is when it's pretty much an insta-kill, so you really want to dodge that one the moment you kill Vita. And then you have to start killing Tao. In most cases, for team setups, your Iselia, Kona, Shannon will do. If you have a Naomi already built instead of the Iselia, that's better, because Naomi is very good for damage when there's more debuffs on the enemy. That thing you also kind of want to dodge. At some point, he starts doing the shield. And that is kind of where you either want an Orbia Light S2, or you want a Sekhmet Q skill. So it will be stripped, and it just gets you a lot faster in damage. I'm not entirely sure for Kina and Cleave, which are the best setups for weapons. Personally, I like Orbia Wind most for bosses. But my wind weapon is kind of trash at the moment, so fire is the next best thing, I would say. And the main reason for that is you have armor break, you have the def up on the S3, and you have extra damage on your S1 for doing, what's it called, extra debuffs. Or when there's extra debuffs, you do more damage on that S1. So Wind Orbia is best. Also, these units, or every raid, is non-element. So at some point you will also have like a Fire Dragon, is a non-element. So you don't have to use water weapons. You can actually use a wind weapon and it works like legit the same amount. That's good. So in this case, switching to Sekhmet, going for that S2 strip, armor breaking it instead of the defense buff. And that is pretty much how it is. Like, and if you see charging at you, you kind of want to dodge that because that one is the heavy hitter. And that is pretty much that for like the whole clearing thing. This raid is pretty much straightforward tank and spank kind of thing. Or not even tank, just dodge and spank, I guess. Just got some extra input from Diablo. Wind is for damage, water is for debuffs, and fire is for bleed / heal block. In case you need that. And that is for the cleaves in raids. And light and dark are not good for raids, apparently. And Kina, I'm not sure what most Kinas use. Most Kina go fire on raids for extra attack buff. Okay, makes sense, makes sense. So another thing that's interesting for these dungeons is like your F2 and F3. So I don't think I will make actually a separate video on it because it's a pretty short topic. Like F2 makes it that the units will target whatever you're targeting. And F3 will make it that the units will stay on you. So you can kind of play around with that. It used to be different. They also had like an F1, which is like kind of like the AI state. But currently if you untap both, it's the AI state, it seems. But sometimes you do want to put them on whistle. Like for example, in this case, they would dodge. If you're dodging, they will dodge. So they would move out of the circle. In this case, my unit didn't do it. Issue is that sometimes they start dodging too for them at that moment. Best location to dodge. If you go for F3, for example, units will always come to you. Like the moment you move, units move with you. But an issue that you can have with that is that units don't attack because every time you move, they cannot do their animation yet. So your animation canceling them, so you're kind of canceling their skills. So in this case, having the whistle is not the most useful, but some raids and some positions in raids, it is the most useful. So that's something you just gotta play around with a little bit. Another tip for doing any of the raids, it's always useful to click these and then this one. So you can see the party HP bar. So sometimes it's useful to check like, oh, I see my ally being low HP, so I can heal him or something, because you can share the heals. And it's just good to see like whatever DPS you're doing. It's just fun to see, like, why not? Because the other things that you see, like this and whatnot, that's pretty useless. You can use this to tap target if you're like that much, but most of the dungeons only have, or the raids only have one target. So for that reason, you don't really need that. For this one, it's kind of okay, usable. To maybe keep it like this, or if you don't care about the DPS, keep it like this. So for typical teams that you see around here for this dungeon, it's very common you have a DPSer, a healer, and then a support that gives buffs. And the most typical things which most people will be able to run is what you see also for the two guys over here. Naomi with the Shannon and then the Konamiya. Other options for the Konamiya could be a Lulu. Or if you get like a better healer like an Annabelle. For the Shannon, you still want something with attack buff. So at some point people will get Bastet. Bastet is a good option. You could opt to do what I do, and that is no Shannon, so no support and double DPS. But you can only do that if some other people in your team have like a support in there. Other options for supports for buffing could be like a Croa or a Windy. Those are like the best damage dealers, buffers for any raids pretty much. And then you have the damage slot, and the damage slot is pretty much, it would be either Isalia's possible, you could go Naomi's as we have, Sekhmet if it's high on damage is an option, Argon of course is an option, Lin is an option. Like for DPS there's a whole bunch of options, but those are like the main teams that you want to run for these dungeons in general. So pretty much every dungeon will have that, like either, well, at some point if you clear it fast enough, you could even go like support for buffs plus 2 DPSs and you don't go a healer. But that is something more late game, and then also your support is most likely Bastet, and Bastet has like the semi-support in form of a shield. Or if you have a whole bunch of Kinas that also heal, that kind of stuff. Like it also depends on what kind of team members you have as main summoner. For example, if you have Kina, you can say like, okay, we don't do the attack buff. But then you have to keep in mind that Shannon also provides the shield buff, which prevents a lot of casualties of things dying if you get like a wrong hit somewhere. Oh, another tip is you kind of want to have F3 off, but if you have to dodge something where you don't want your units to walk into, quickly like turn on your F3, pull them back, and then put F3 on again. Or F3 off again. You can play around with those kind of things. Yeah, Fatal is better on Naomi, I think, because of her skill set. Because her skill set gives her crit rate and crit damage. So if you have a higher input number of being attack, I think it becomes actually better. And I just awakened her to 14. Gave her a new set, which is the Fatal runes. These are all runes that I got from Spires, so you can literally get them from Spires, just depending how they roll. But they all have like pretty much like S rolls and shit. It's fucking OP what you get. But yeah, that kind of helps. And then if you check the skills, it goes like per harmful effect, crit rate up and crit damage up. So she will get still quite a lot of crit rate, quite a lot of crit damage, and then have very high attack. So she does an insane amount of damage right now.